Hi, and welcome to this video tutorial on library resources for CSCI 105 Computer Fluency. My name is Samantha, and I am the librarian at Missoula College. And the goal of this video is to show you some resources for your course. Primarily, we'll show you where to find these resources, and I'll give you some tips on how to use each one effectively. I know that as CSCI Computer Fluency students, you probably understand the background behind the databases maybe better than I do, but I can show you at least where we keep them and give you some little tips that may not be so obvious. So, they hide out, as you can imagine, on the library's website. You can get to the library website in a few different ways. There's a link in Moodle on the left-hand side of the screen towards the top. Also, on most websites, there's this purple bubble that says my.umt.edu. It will get you there, through there to the library's website. Once you've come to the library's website, you can find the resources for this particular class on below this large picture where it says Subject Guides. And once this loads, there is a list of subject guides. Under Missoula College, we've got Missoula College Library Resources and Services, which will have a link to Applied Computing and Electronics. So, it's hidden away a bit down there. You can also find these databases. If we go back to the main library website here, under databases, Missoula College Applied Computing and Electronics, and this is a stripped down one with just these 7 resources on it, none of the surrounding information. I'm not sure why it's duplicative, but it is. Either one will get you to the resources I'm going to talk about today. This one happens to have a nice help screen off to the side, so I tend to prefer this one. The first one we're going to talk about is ACM Digital Library, and ACM stands for Association of Computing Machinery, and this association and its affiliated groups have lots of publications, journals, conference transactions, magazines, newsletters, some books, some encyclopedias, things like that. And they can all be searched. Everything it publishes, has published back from the 50s to today, can be found through this portal. And there's a simple search up in the upper right corner, what you can just use if you've got some basic topic in mind, like maybe computer network security. You can type it in depending on the speed of your internet connection. There we go. Go from there. 36,000 things came back. Quite a few, as you can imagine, dating back from the 50s, as I mentioned. So off to the left-hand side, there's some ways to narrow things down. Publication year is a good one. You might not want to read about network security dating back to the 50s. Maybe you just want the past 3 or 4 years. And that will cut it, I think, by 2/3. So it went back down from over 30,000 to a little over 10,000 here. You can narrow it down by publication type, where it says ACM publication. You could choose the journal articles if you're looking for things that are more scholarly. Newsletters and magazines tend to be more practically oriented for people that are out in the field. Proceedings will be those conference papers, very scholarly things that are presented at a conference. So there's some ways to narrow things down further just on this left-hand side. To get at all of these narrowing functions and features at once, you'll want to click on Advanced Search, which you could do from the main screen as well. And you can fill in this form here. You could put in computer network security. You could put in the dates from here if you had a particular conference in mind, or something like that. You could narrow things down that way. I'll just go back to our search, and And I'll click on this first result so you can get an idea of what the results look like. Now, one strength that this resource has is that pretty much everything that you pull up here in the center in your search results, you can click through and read where it says full text here right below the title. Down below this information summarizing what it's found, you'll have an abstract here, which is a paragraph that describes what this writing is about. You'll have a link to the larger table of contents from whatever it came from. This is from a journal called, it's from a conference proceeding of the Second International Conference on Innovative Computing and Cloud Computing. If you wanted to see what else was presented there, you could click on Table of Contents. One thing that this resource doesn't do as well is it doesn't provide you with a citation that you can just copy and paste. A lot of library resources do that. We're sort of spoiled now, but this one does give you some things that you can export into software like EndNote that we have access to in the library, but it's beyond the scope of this little video. So look for other resources on how to use those things, or we'll talk a little bit about resources on constructing a citation at the end of the video. So to get to the whole text, as I mentioned, right where it says full text should take you right to it. Again, depending on the speed of your connection, should pop right up. There we go. You can read through, print, attach to an email, whatever works best for you. I'm going to go back to my result here. There we go. So those are the ins and outs of ACM. Oh, and I'll mention over here if you wanted to save a collection of results, if you found 3 or 4 things, use the save to binder to collate them all together, and then you can email them to yourself as a batch or print them out as a batch. It's a good way to collect things together. So ACM we've talked about, and like I said, this is all coming from that one publisher. The third one on the list, Safari Technical Books Online, is from a publisher you've probably heard of. They produce mostly practical, technical books dealing with computer issues, and you can see down here under top titles there's some examples of things. Learning Python is perennially at the top of this list. A lot of Cisco titles or other programming languages show up here. But we've got up at the top, very similarly to the last thing, a search where you could put in something like network security and see what sort of things are available. This will all be books, and it'll pop you in usually to a chapter, although there's some books that are generally specific to your topic, and you can kind of see the book is in the center here, the chapters are on the far left, far right. The things to narrow your search down, such as year or author or publisher or language, also is a good one in this one, off to the left. If you click on the chapter title, you'll go straight to the chapter, and in fact, where in the chapter it starts using the term that you've put into your search. Up at the top here, you can print or email pages at a time, unfortunately, with this resource. Off to the right-hand side, you can navigate to the next search term. So it's very search term centric, but it's useful, very practically oriented. Off to the left-hand side, you see the entire table of contents, or you can click to the start of the book and start reading through, navigate through. Oh, it doesn't. It takes you to the next page. Sorry, not the next search term. So it's reading a book online. It's not ideal compared to the print or even a downloadable version, but it is fairly decent access to a really great collection of resources on practical and useful computer topics through Safari, a very well-known and useful publisher for these books. So again, this one doesn't provide much help with citation either. You're going to have to rely on the library's resources to gain help with citing, but it's is decent access. And I should also mention there's only 4 users at a time allowed, so if it gives you a strange message, it might just be that 4 other people are trying to read it at the same time. Wait a few minutes and try again. People rarely look at it for more than 5 or 10 minutes at a time. So that's Safari, another publisher, another group of resources. This one very technically oriented and focusing on books. The last one I want to talk about is called Springer Link, and either of these 2 links will get you to the exact same thing. One just says books and the other says journals. They both take you to the same website. And at this point, let me mention that these links only function through the library website. If you try to go to link.springer.com on your own, it won't recognize that you're from the University of Montana, so you want to authenticate through the library's website to get to these resources without being asked to pay, basically, for the resource that we've paid for through our subscription. So here we are, Springer Link. This covers another publisher, as you can guess. Springer is its name, and they publish a wide variety of journals and books and reference works in all areas of the sciences and social sciences. So this is a pretty broad area beyond the technological ones we've just looked at with Springer and ACM. But incredibly useful, lots of interesting information here. So I'm going to type in network security, just generally. Off to the left-hand side, again, you'll see ways to refine your search. In the center, you'll see things coming up. They're usually collated by relevance. Yep, right there it says sort by relevance. We've got about over 250,000 things, quite a few things. The first one coming to top, a book about network security. Could be very useful. With this one, you can download the books and read them offline. You can put them on a Kindle or an iPad or any other device, which is very, very handy. And you can also do that by chapter. If there's just a chapter that you want, you can download the PDF of it. You don't have to print or email screen by screen, page by page, like what you had to do with Safari. So another thing that is useful and interesting about this Springer search, the Springer product, is that it's covering a wide range of disciplines. As I mentioned before, you're going to find things on computer network security from the computing point of view, but you'll also find things from the business point of view or the management point of view, or even the social sciences point of view, like the economics involved in network security, or the politics, the legal side perhaps involved in it. So this can be useful for expanding your search a little bit more broadly and getting some background as to why this is so important, perhaps from a more social science or hard science point of view. So that was Springer Link. Those are the 3 resources I was going to cover for you upon request of the instructors of CSCI105 ACM, Safari, Springer. These resources, let me get to the screen here, can be found, as I said, under the subject resources or databases links on the library website. ACM covers conference papers, books, journals, and newsletters. Practical to scholarly, a wide range just from that publisher. Safari focuses on books and is strongly practical in its inclination. Springer has books and journals, and it's mostly academic, I should have mentioned, but it covers a wide range of academic disciplines. So there's other parts of the library website and other videos that can help you more deeply with citation and other things you might need, like constructing a proper search if you're having some problems getting the right words to get you the results you need. Let me click back to the library website here for a moment and show you. This general search here in the middle too is a good starting point. It's called the Search Everything, and that can get you a really broad net if you need any help starting things. And then over here where it says Contact Us is the best way to get a hold of us for those other videos or other help that you might need, with a phone number, an email address, so a chat link or a text message. And all of these resources are answered out of the main library on the Mountain campus, so they're staffed all sorts of hours that may not be available on Missoula College. But you're always welcome to come into the Missoula College website or Missoula College Library, I should say, and chat with me. If you need any help at all, please don't hesitate to be in touch.